Welcome to perfection. Watkins Glen, where refreshing waterways rush to meet gentle rolling hills. Tranquility lives amid this landscape all year long. But this weekend, the silence gives way and the thrills begin. With 9,000 horses under the hood, our pulse quickens at every turn. So join us as we take a break from the calm and drivers start their engines with a roar that echoes like thunder at the Glen.
WENY-HD presents Elm Chevrolet's Thunder at the Glen. Now, let's go live to Watkins Glen International.
Hey, welcome to the show. It is WENY-HD's Thunder at the Glen special. We are live for the next hour from 7 to 8, right here live from Watkins Glen International, brought to you by Elm Chevrolet. I'm Eddie Malnoske, Josh Getzoff alongside. And Josh, history is unfolding as we speak. This is the first time we've ever done something of its kind from this area, from Watkins Glen. Our station's been around since 1969. We're proud to be here tonight.
That's right, Andy. Plenty of stuff on tap tonight. We have interviews. We have everything else in between. Tons of great stories. And yeah, it's a pretty good idea to keep it right here.
That's right. And also some Cheez-Its will be on hand as well.
Let's have some Cheez-Its too. You got it.
Well, tonight we start off with the big dogs. NASCAR drivers up here, despite the weather, got the chance to hit the course tonight in terms of practice. So it was a good way to start. Kick it off now tonight. We kick off with all the big drivers, including two-time defending champion right here, AMBROSE. He returned to the course. One racer who's not, that's five-time champion right here, Tony Stewart. He's won the most races here of all time and is out after breaking his leg in a sprint race out in Iowa. For the guys who did make it, it's great getting back up and running at Watkins Glen.
As race car drivers, we always look forward, and this weekend will be no guarantee. So I'm just really focused on this weekend and trying to do a good job for my team.
People were excited about me being in the car, and everyone said, just go out there and represent them in the best way you can. And that's kind of what I feel like. I'm going to go out there, do the best I can.
All in all, I love the area, I love the track, and we're generally pretty competitive and hope to be more competitive this weekend.
So here's the big schedule for the weekend of racing here at Watkins Glen International. The Nationwide Series will take center stage Saturday. That's, of course, the Zippo 200, one of our favorites. And, of course, on Sunday, the big dogs come to play. The first ever Cheez-It 355 at the Glen. Marcus Ambrose looking to make it 3 in a row at WGI. And, Andy, if he does that, he's going to be joining some big-time company.
Yeah, that's right, Josh. Only 3 drivers in WGI NASCAR history have ever won here 3 times or more in the race's 30-year history. And that's right, Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, and Mark Martin, who had a nice run back there in the early 90s, all have done it. Ambrose is at 2, along with Ricky Rudd and Rusty Wallace. All right, Josh, well, I'll tell you what, 2012 certainly a great race. And on the other side of the break, WGI President Michael Printup is in the house. He'll be live on set with us. But before we get to break, we're counting down the top 5 best NASCAR moments of all time here at WGI, and we've got some good ones for you.
Oh, yeah.
And at number 5, we just mentioned him a few minutes ago in the full screen, Mark Martin comes in at number 5. Don't go anywhere. Keep it right here. You're watching Thunder at the Glen, right here from WGI, brought to you by Elm Chevy.
The top 5 moments in Watkins Glen history. Number 5, 1995. Mark Martin won his 3rd NASCAR race in a row at WGI, the first ever driver to accomplish that feat. Martin would become the driver of the decade at Watkins Glen, and with his trademark Valvoline car in the red, white, and blue, Martin would become Mr. WGI for several years, taking Watkins Glen and NASCAR by storm. WENY-HD Sports salutes Mark Martin, the number 5 best moment of all time back in 1995, winning his 3rd in a row.
Hey, welcome back. We are live at Thunder at the Glen right here on WENY-HD, brought to you by Elm Chevy. We're here for the next hour live from Watkins Glen International. Stories and everything else in between. Lots of great stuff on tap for you. Got a nice wide shot of the track right here, getting set for the big race weekend here in Watkins Glen. And joining us live on set, WGI President Michael Printup, and we appreciate you joining us. I got to say, the busiest man of the weekend, without question.
Well, they started me at, I think, 5:20 this morning, so you know what? It is what it is. When you work 51 weeks a year and you only have 3 days to put on the show, if it's 23 hours, and if I could exist, I would do it.
Yeah. And Michael, absolutely, that's an early morning. We all have had some early mornings here, but talk about, every year you've been here, it seems like WGI is getting better and better and better, especially after last year's race, the talk of the NASCAR world. I mean, what can people expect this year?
Well, it was that race last year, that was the I won't call it the pinnacle because there's more coming. That was such an exciting race. So, you know, the thing is, we just try to keep making things better for the fans. At the end of the day, it's the fans, the media, and corporate sponsors that pay the bills, right? And just like any other business, whatever it might be. So we're here to make the fans, everybody happy. Let's have fun.
Michael, you know, the Watkins Glen brand has grown so much, as Andy just touched on a minute ago. What are you guys doing this summer to really improve it even further for this race, this Cheez-It 355?
Well, we've dropped in, love Cheez-It 355. You know, that's a great sound already because Kellogg's brand, and you know that brand goes from 1 year old to 99. But you know, it's about making the things better. You know, capital improvements, showers, bathrooms. You know, whatever we can do to make it better. New concession stands. I mean, we've got some really neat things that we always try to make happen for the fans.
We saw the trophy. It's a giant Cheez-It on top. And I love Cheez-Its too. I mean, you got to love them, right?
Oh, yeah. 4 cheese. All the way. 4 cheese.
But Michael, I'll tell you, one last thing here is, you know, we thank you for joining us as always. It's great to see you.
Thank you.
And who's winning this weekend?
I'm telling you, Brendan Gaughan's winning tomorrow, and Carl's winning on Sunday.
Writing it down.
Write it down.
I'll put a bet on it.
Write it
There
down.
we go.
Put a bet on
I'll
it.
put a bet. I'll put a bet that we can switch jobs for a day.
Yeah.
Well, okay, you're on. You're on.
Sounds great. You know, I don't know if we can fit in that shoes there of your job, but
I couldn't do yours either. So.
Thanks, Michael. Well, we appreciate you joining us here tonight. WGI President Michael Printup live on set with us here at WGI Thunder at the Glen. We are live, but right now we're going to sit at the chief meteorologist Joe Veras, who's with us here tonight, the third man of our team. And Joe, weather's very important here. The last couple of years, rain's pushed the stuff off a couple of days. How's things looking right now?
All right, thanks a lot, guys. Let's talk weather for a minute. Happy to report that the rain we had earlier now well off towards the south and east, looking great up here at WGI. What do we typically expect this time of year weather-wise? Well, normally we have a high temperature of 81 degrees. The record high was all the way up to 98, but it's going to be nowhere near that this upcoming weekend. The Cheez-It 355 forecast for Sunday looking very nice, even a little chilly to start. At 9 o'clock, we're looking at sunshine. Temperatures in the mid-50s as we progress through the day. A mix of sun and clouds, 71 at the start of the race at 1, and by 5, we'll be looking at temperatures in the mid-70s. Hey, look at this. The only NASCAR races at WGI to be postponed due to rain were in 1987, 2009, and 2011. And guys, I'm very happy to report that this year is not going to be one of those. Back to you.
Guys, well, I'll tell you right now, back to Thunder at the Glen. Thank you so much, Joe. We appreciate the weather. Keep a tab on this, man. He is something. Chief Meteorologist Joe Veras, been around for 13 years. So.
The Weather Authority.
NWA.
NWA and WO.
Well, thanks, Joe. We appreciate it. You know, as we march on with Thunder at the Glen, we continue our countdown of the top 5 moments in WGI history. And we got number 4 here, and it's a man everyone well knows, Jeff Gordon.
We continue with our best moments in WGI track history, and at number 4, that number is certainly wild. Number 4, go back to 2001, and Jeff Gordon wins again. Gordon won an astounding 4 races in 5 years at Watkins Glen, highlighted by 3 in a row from 1997 to 1999, a feat that may never be duplicated in track history again. In all, Gordon has 8 top 10 finishes at the Glen and 6 top 5s. WENY-HD Sports salutes Jeff Gordon, one of the best drivers of all time at Watkins Glen.
All right, welcome back to WENY-HD's Thunder at the Glen, brought to you by Elm Chevrolet. Alongside Josh Getzoff, I'm Andy Malnoske. And check out some of the haulers on site from race weekend. Check out all the scene here at WGI. It is a special, special weekend. You are watching Thunder at the Glen. We are live from Watkins Glen International. Josh, man, I'll tell you, we've been busy for multiple weeks here with this show. We're happy to be with you. You know, Cheez-It's certainly something that, you know, I've always enjoyed. You know, I've thrown a couple down, you know, Cheez-It, two-hand slam, everything, you name it, we have it. But, you know, we got some good old-fashioned trivia. And speaking of Cheez-Its, you know, we went to downtown Watkins Glen to test out the trivia knowledge of NASCAR here at the WGI racetrack. And, you know, you wouldn't believe it, but a lot of crazy stuff went down. Check out some WGI trivia and what people would do for some Cheez-Its.
To Cheez-It or not to Cheez-It? That's right. We're giving away some Cheez-Its tonight in a special trivia contest, and we'll see how good people's knowledge really is when it comes to NASCAR at Watkins Glen International. And, you know, you got the lake here, you got all this great stuff, but how bad do they want the cheese? Let's see. Who's the president of Watkins Glen International?
I don't know. Oh, stop. I don't dog.
Who's won the most NASCAR races in WGI history?
That's pretty easy. Richard Petty.
No. Smoke Tony Stewart. Who won the 1996 Bud at the Glen and is a Twin Tiers native?
I'm going to go with Jeff Bodine.
Big time right there. Jesus, he's got it. Oh, it's close. Jeff Bodine? Jeff Bodine it is. What driver won 3 straight races at WGI in NASCAR from 1993 to 1995?
Mark Martin.
There it is. Cheez-Its.
I already did this one.
Gotta do it again.
Okay.
Cheez-Its for my man right here. How do you spell Cheez-It?
Cheezit. What?
I think she got it. Here we go. Our first box of Cheez-Its.
What is that, guys?
What is it? Of the United States of America. I believe she said it best. She can phone a friend if she wants.
Tastes good. Mom loves it.
We love you, Mom.
All right, gotta love Cheez-Its, and you saw some of those things. We actually didn't mean to crash a bachelorette party, but that just kind of happened.
Happened by chance, but they loved it. How is a bachelorette party bad if Cheez-Its are involved?
It's a win-win.
It is a win-win.
It's a win-win situation, but Josh, we got one guy with local ties here at WGI that is going to make an impact and looking to make an impact this weekend.
That's right, Andy. You'll catch Regan Smith in the Zippo 200 on Saturday, but his story goes way back in years and about 2 hours in distance from us here at WGI, but it was worth every second.
Limited mic rod judges, please. Scott Nolden, Tim Lewis, Tony Hanbury, and Don Hanbury. Can I get one volunteer, please?
It's race day again at Sodas Point Mike Rod Club. Another day of speed, roaring engines, and youthful exuberance on display. For young racers in New York State, it starts right here.
Cars that you see out here, yeah, they're small and everything, but they are real race cars. They're as sophisticated as any Sprint Cup car out there or nationwide car out there.
There are big dreams for the youngsters who ride this track and others throughout the New York State Mike Rod Club circuit, dreams inspired by the success of one of their own. Former Mike Rod Club racer and current NASCAR Nationwide Series driver, Regan Smith.
Here comes Regan.
Regan started when he was 4 years old. They actually fudged the birth certificate to get him in here.
It was where I got my start. It was, where I first learned to drive a car even, or to sit in a car and understand what it was to go fast.
Smith's success has taken him from this to this.
Smith gets the flag, and this time he'll get to keep it. How about that?
When you watch the graphics on TV, you'll see Cato, New York. And when anyone sees that, they know that's real close by. That's the hometown hero.
Major ups and major downs, and I think this would be classified as a major up for sure.
And now the kid from a town that's population is under 1,000 is set to return back to his home state of New York and race in front of his most supportive fans during Saturday's running of the Nationwide Series Zippo 200 at the Glen.
A win here would mean more than anything to me. I've been fortunate enough to have some really big wins here lately, and some in the past, and definitely this one would rank right up there in the tops of them.
Yeah, it's got to be awesome because he grew up doing this with like a few people, and now he's in front of thousands of people.
And at the same time as Regan chases the checkered flag on Saturday, hundreds of youngsters will chase his old dreams, wearing his old helmets and racing his old cars. To them, Regan Smith is a hero.
Okay, Josh, great story on Reagan. Certainly he'd like to find himself in victory lane come Sunday. Now we're moving on to our number 3 moment, and on the other side of the break, we'll be right back here on WENY-HD's Thunder at the Glen, brought to you by Elm Chevy. One man who found himself in victory lane back in 1986 was Tim Richmond. Take a look.
Now we're at the number 3 best NASCAR moment ever at WGI, and it's from the return. Number 3, 1986, after a 31-year absence, NASCAR returned to the Glen to see this man, Tim Richmond, take the checkered flag. Richmond would win a staggering 7 races in 1986 and was the driver of the year. Sadly, Tim would pass away in 1989 from the AIDS virus, but not before leaving behind a legacy not only in NASCAR, but at Watkins Glen International. WENY-HD Sports salutes Tim Richmond for the number 3 moment in WGI history.
Hey, welcome welcome back to WENY-TV's Thunder at the Glen. Been a lot of celebrities over the years at WGI, and here's some big names. The great actor Paul Newman was here for years. All-time NFL great Walter Payton made the trek as well. Legendary actor, of course, Tom Cruise. Yeah, I love him.
From Top Gun.
You got to love him, right? And, of course, Syracuse coach Jim Boeheim and a host of others have made it here to the Glen. And, Josh, you know, what's one of the things that most people watch when they come up to WGI?
Well, it's pretty easy, especially when you think of WGI. You got to be talking about the crashes.
Yeah, I mean, we actually were at the go-kart event, driven by that. You don't want to crash anything, but it does happen, and certainly this is the case up here at WGI, being a road course. We take a look back. We go into history books to see the top 5 greatest moments in WGI history when it comes to crashes. Take a look.
First off, let's go back to the year 2000. Jimmy Johnson coming around turn 1, and he never stops. Johnson flies over the sand trap and crashes into the foam wall. He would be okay from the wreck. It was quickly to show fans he was indeed just that. Johnson has never found victory lane at WGI. On to number 4, this one not exactly the biggest crash, but it has some smoke style. This is from last year's NASCAR race at the Glen. Tony Stewart, they call him Smoke. He had some here and somehow finds his way down pit road. Nice after that. Smoke has won 5 times at the Glen.
Oh, goodness. 6 gets, it's like, oh, my gosh.
To number 3 from 2011, David Ruderman flips out. David Reagan collides and turns this one into one of the most violent crashes in Watkins Glen history. Luckily, everyone would be okay. Anything typically and usually happens right before the iconic S's at WGI.
Here. Be ready, folks. This is hard.
Ooh. Let's move on to number 2, 2009. Jeff Gordon and Sam Hornish bring a whole new meaning to the road course crash. This one even went green. A total of 6 cars were involved, and this one made its mark on WGI history. Amazingly, though, everybody walked away from the crash. And number 1, 2008, David Gilliland and Michael McDowell collide in the final turn, and yeah, just chaos. Bobby Labonte and Sam Hornish crash, and the water barriers explode, causing one heck of a wreck. So when you're watching the race, expect the unexpected at Watkins Glen, a road course unlike any other.
So we're going to go to break here. Before we do, we're going to send you off with the number 2 moment of all time here in NASCAR history at Watkins Glen International. And even though he's not going to be here this weekend, he's still smoking.
Counting down on the top 5 moments in WGI history, we've made it to number 2. And this one should be familiar. 2009, Tony Stewart wins again. Stewart would take the checkered flag for a record 5th time at WGI and stands alone in the win column. Stewart won back-to-back races in 2004 and 5 and won his first NASCAR Sprint Cup race at the Glen back in 2002. WENY-TV Sports salutes Tony Stewart, one of the best drivers of all time at the Glen.
All right, there it is, the spot all the drivers want to be in. We're talking about Gatorade Victory Lane. Marcos Ambrose won it 2 years in a row. He's looking for number 3, but you can't forget about us. Please check these picks out. We took these picks at Victory Lane. Andy, myself, we're giving our best Ricky Bobby Talladega Nights impression there for sure. Good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going big time, I hope, with arms out there and trying to go big time at least. But that's the spot everyone's looking for, but Victory Lane. You know, racing has existed in Watkins Glen since 1948. Yeah, break out the history books. The current structure that it's constructed since 1971. As you see the blue rails out in the track and things like that. But we took a trip down to the International Motor Research Center.
It's a mouthful.
It is. It really is. It's Cheez-Its.
Cheez-Its. That's what it is. It's all
That's
about
what it is. But we took a trip down to the International Motor Research Racing Center down in Watkins Glen to get a little history lesson of how much actually exists in this area. Take a look.
All right, it's time for the big time. Let's go inside and check out the International Motor Research Center, the only place dedicated to motor research in Watkins Glen. They got a NASCAR in there, Rusty Wallace. They got pictures, books, everything you can imagine to research stuff. Also got a video library where you can watch videos on your own. Check out that engine right there, pretty cool. All sorts of memorabilia and artifacts from paintings, everything else, including some old school pictures from Watkins Glen itself, all on display at the Research Center. So some cool stuff here. They got magazines to check out as well. Everything you can imagine to this Motor Research Center is in the house. Also, yeah, you can win one of these. A Ferrari is on hand at the actual research center outside. It's parked there. Get some tickets to win this thing and drive home like a champion. And one ticket is only $60, 2 for $100. All proceeds go to the research center. And if you're cool enough to win this, you could probably do this. But even if you don't win the International Motor Research Racing Center, it's got a little something for everybody. So start your engines right now.
Magnum PI, what better?
How about that mustache?
It's the best mustache on the planet.
Right here. Let's get one.
Awesome. You know, a lot of history there with that car, Andy, and it was pretty sweet, huh?
Yeah, it really was, Josh. And,
definitely.
But Jeff Bodine's pretty sweet, too.
He's pretty awesome. Honored today as a legend of the Glen, and he retired from racing in October, but not before leaving behind one great legacy that we will talk about for quite a long time. He's our number one.
No racer from the Twin Tiers did more for the sport than Jeff Bodine.
When you climb into a Winston Cup car, it's a different ballgame. They're heavy.
In his early years, Jeff began racing at the Chemung Speedrome, soon making his Sprint Cup debut in 1979.
We're just out there to have a good time, sign autographs, see the fans.
In a career that spanned 27 years, Bodine raced in 575 Sprint Cup races, winning 18 and racking up 190 top 10 finishes. In his first full season in 1982, Jeff won the Winston Cup Rookie of the Year and then won the Super Bowl of racing, the Daytona 500, in 1986.
You are with Jeff Bodine as he wins the 1986 Daytona 500.
But none of that compares to 1996, a home victory at the butt of the Glen.
Back home in Chemung County, in Victor Lane. Thank God for this.
Bodine's love for racing spilled over into the Olympic bobsledding world. With Jeff's new designs, the United States has won several medals, including gold, using his sleds. Named one of NASCAR's 50 greatest drivers ever, WENY-TV Sports salutes Jeff Bodine, a racing legend.
Josh, today you sat down with one of the best of all time, an ESPN analyst, Dale Jarrett. I mean, how things go with that today?
Yeah, quite an experience, Andy, and he had a lot of great insight into what this track is all about. Take a look.
All right, and it is an honor to be joined by decorated race car driver and now current ESPN NASCAR analyst Dale Jarrett. Dale, thanks for joining us today.
Glad to. Thank you.
You know, the big weekend here at Watkins Glen, big race weekend, and the big story, Tony Stewart not here. Smokes had a lot of success at this track, 5 wins here in NASCAR. How much is he going to be missed this weekend, and how does it impact the field?
Well, it certainly gives everybody that would be looking at it an opportunity that they don't have to outrun Smoke, because he was somebody that you always knew was going to be in the mix.
Now, Watkins Glen itself is a special track, obviously, one of 2 road courses on the NASCAR Sprint Cup circuit. How do guys prepare for this as opposed to a standard oval?
Yeah, it's so much different, and now a lot of the drivers and teams, and probably most of them, go somewhere and get prepared for this, because it used to be years and years ago that you just kind of threw it away. There were a couple of good road racers in the mix. The rest of them you just had to kind of survive, and you didn't want to give up a lot of points when you came to this. But there's so many that are talented now because they have taken this more seriously.
Now, Watkins Glen has admittedly put Marcus Ambrose on the map the last couple of years, back-to-back victories here at the Glen. But who is some guy this year, or girl, that could potentially have an impact and maybe put themselves on the map?
Well, one guy that's on the map is Kyle Busch. He was leading on that last lap last year. Brad Keselowski was right there, and probably one of the most unbelievable final laps I've ever seen anywhere with everything that took place. It's just simply amazing there to watch that. I think that we'll have to pay attention to Max Pappas, his opportunity in Tony Stewart's car. You never know what can happen when you get people in these type situations, but Max is a very talented race driver, and so it'd be interesting to see that.
All right, Dale Jarrett, thank you so much for taking the time.
Glad to. Thanks.
Hey, welcome back to Elm Chevy's presentation of Thunder at the Glen right here on WENY-HD. And take a look at those grandstands. They are empty now, but I assure you they will be full tomorrow and Sunday here at Watkins Glen. Thanks for joining us again on making history on this night, the last hour. You know, we've had a little bit of fun, we've had a little bit of everything, and it continues.
Yeah, it really does, Josh. And those grandstands, they go way up there. I tried climbing those a couple years ago, about passed out halfway up.
They are pretty high.
But I'm here today.
There you go. That's what we care about.
And another gentleman that was here today, certainly a bigwig in NASCAR.
Yes.
Robin Pemberton. He's the Vice President of Competition for NASCAR. telling us about the new cars that are on the circuit, on the sport. Gen 6, they're called. And take a closer look with Robin on what these mean for the future of the sport.
What are some of the changes that we can see coming forward?
Well, there's a few of the changes. You won't be able to see them from your too much. You'll be covered by sheet metal, but for safety reasons, we've added some structure into the roof area. Helps with roof crush, car gets rolled over, so we've added some tubing up in here. But these cars, basically, it's our safety cell is basically unchanged for the past few years.
Favorite part about Watkins Glen, what is it?
I can't put my finger on any one thing. The area is beautiful. We all love to come here. The people are very nice, and it's nice to get to upstate New York. You know, I'm a native of upstate New York, over in Saratoga Springs and Ballston Spa area myself. And, you know, Watkins Glen is something that I've always held very close.
Robin Pemberton, we thank you so much for taking the time with us here today. And he's the Vice President of Competition in NASCAR, telling us a lot about the future of these cars. Back to you.
Well, Eddie, that's some pretty cool stuff right there, seeing the evolution of cars. You know, I want one of those.
Yeah, I know. You see those things, the spoilers. I mean, pretty cool stuff.
Very, very cool.
But this is very, very cool. The WENY-HD Ultimate Fan Experience winner is Deb Layton from Erin, New York, right down the road from here. She's been a NASCAR fan her entire life, loves the sport, and we took a closer look at what she's looking forward to this weekend at WGI.
Gone to the races before just to go to the racetrack, but never had been able to get all access to the pits and the races and to see the drivers before. So it is fantastic. I'm still going to see Ryan Newman is still there, and Joey Logano, who I'm fans with, and there's others. I'm just a NASCAR fan at heart. People watching, all the drivers, and last year when I sat down, I was totally surrounded by Tony Stewart fans. I could not believe how many people had 14 on everything and were wearing red just like I was. Someone knows how much I like NASCAR. Go early, because there's a lot to see. There's just so many places to walk around, and the trailers and the concessions, and just walking the whole course. The road courses are the best because they're not only going in circles, they're going all over, left and right, and that's the best part of Watkins Glen.
All right, well, thank you so much to Deb for coming down to the station. And Josh, plenty more to come here on WENY-HD's Thunder at the Glen, brought to you by Elm Chevy. Don't go anywhere. We're going to finish out strong right here live from Watkins Glen. I've been coming up here since I was a real little guy, and this is something that we're very proud of, put together here over the last few weeks. And you know, Watkins Glen, been up here for a long time, and my dad had always gotten tickets to come up here. But take a look at Watkins Glen history, my Watkins Glen history.
But every summer and every year, you look forward to that race at Watkins Glen because it was the biggest event of the summer. It brought the most people out, in the thousands and thousands of people. Nothing was bigger than Watkins Glen. To me, it goes way, way back to when I was a little kid. The first race I went to at WGI was a NASCAR race in 1992. Kyle Petty was one of the guys, one of the front runners. It's something I'll never forget. My brother Mike was very instrumental in getting us involved in NASCAR and you know, watching the races, enjoying the scene. You know, movies like Days of Thunder always come to mind. But Watkins Glen, you know, my dad always got tickets to go up there. We always enjoyed it as a family and watched the races. And my dad even got a picture with the Bud Girls one year down at work. They stopped through in a limousine, got the picture. It's really cool. So race weekend, you know, when that comes around, I mean, even today, now to be able to cover it and to relive so many of those experiences when I was younger, to cover this event, it means so much to me. And to do the Thunder at the Glen Show up there, station history this time around. This is the first time our station's ever done it. To do it with a guy like Josh Getzoff, who I admire so much, it really means a lot. There really is nothing like NASCAR weekend in the area, you know, all the way from Corning to Wanda. I mean, every place you could imagine is all up in arms and just geared up for this NASCAR race on Sunday. And every year, as we say, it's for the fans. It's Michael Printup, it's everybody, it's the whole ball of wax that are going into this thing. And Watkins Glen International, there's a lot of pride, there's a lot of honor, there's a lot of tradition. And you know, when that is wrapped into a really great fan base, you know, there really is no better experience in upstate New York and throughout the region, and I dare say the country, and really experiencing something for yourself, because Watkins Glen International, it's a great time, and it's a great race for a reason, you know, developed over the years. And this year we're going to top it even more. Thunder at the Glen, it's an honor to do it. We appreciate everyone watching in, and there's nothing better than WGI.
Hey, thank you so much for watching Thunder at the Glen race weekend. Enjoy it. So long.
See ya.